Hello, hello, hello. My name is Miss Monet. I'm a neo-traditional artist from Mama Liberia. I showcase our Liberian culture and tradition to the rest of the world. And today, you are watching Across Africa TV network.
Hey everyone, my name is Varo. I'm a singer and a songwriter. Welcome to Across Africa Network, your home of information, discussion, sports, entertainment, and many more.
Hey, come on in. Welcome to Libtalks,
where we discuss all the issues, especially the tough ones.
Where does it happen? Live, of course.
On Across Africa's Facebook page and on Libtalks Facebook page.
Every Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Miss the show? Watch it again on our YouTube channel, Libtalks.
Liberians, the wait is over. Kizo Financial is here with the answer to your money transfer needs. Want to transfer money to or from Liberia? Contact Kizo Financial, the digital money transfer solution to your problem. From your couch in the diaspora, contact us 267-881-2836. On the farm in Liberia, contact us 231-881-122-334. Kizo Financial, a Liberian-owned business, bringing money transfer to your doorstep. We do accept Zullies and Cash App. Makes it even easier. Technology at its best. Kizo Financial, a Liberian-owned business.
Hi, I am Eva and I am spunky and bold.
Hi, I'm Jennifer. I'm nice, but don't get it twisted.
Hi, I'm Hawa, and I give it to you straight.
Hi, my name is Rose Joy, and I speak with a passion.
Hey, it's Ivis, the fun girl.
Hey. Where the music? Where it go? Where the music at? Huh? I'm here for myself. I don't know about it.
Don't ask me.
Don't ask me.
I just wanna I don't wanna talk about it. I want to do a thing and I have a CCP.
What is that? CC3?
I only get the skin. The main place in the front. I got football. Look at it. Money now. Yeah. Boss. Yeah. Love. Why? What? All the other niggas come back. Really pump, 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 pump. I don't wanna hear no trash. Really pump, 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 pump. That's it. Be upstairs. Get your
Be upset.
Be upstairs. Big up your selling in la vida. In la vida. Selling in la vida.
Hey, in la vida.
When I get set, don't ask me. Don't ask me. Don't ask me. And I know you said it. Don't ask me. I don't want to check my balance. I don't want to check my balance. Yeah, that's money, my left is there. And I got time for people to do yet. I
love it. Oh, is he was okay.
Oh, man, pepper color. I don't want to my pepper color. Yo, I know what you myself.
I don't get my
Eva?
Already.
Okay, everyone. Thank you all for joining us again. Thank you. We appreciate y'all for being here. Ladies, y'all doing okay?
You know we
Yes.
are.
All right. Did y'all enjoy the music?
Yeah.
Yes, we
course.
did.
I'm
Okay.
doing good. How are you?
We're good. Hello.
Oh,
All right, everybody. We just wanted to play a little bit of inspiration before we get on here. All right. Everybody, welcome to LIB Talks. If this is the first time watch the show, we want to tell you welcome. It's Friday. We know you can be with your family, but you came to relax with us. We got a Columbia Dead and our virtual play an interesting way they communicate. Also, we'll be tapping into the success. Shout out to our viewers because we want to hear what y'all have to say. We also have joining us to educate us on the importance of getting your mind right. All right. Ladies, how was your week?
It was awesome.
It was great. Or not.
Awesome.
I lived through it.
It was great. All right. So, they found out at their age.
Eva.
I may have to run this show because Eva.
Okay.
For instance, spouse.
Okay, Eva.
I realized TikTok was the best thing on social media. Has this ever?
All right, I'll go ahead and take over. Okay, well, so as Eva was saying, ladies, we all, had our week, right? We had a great week, did we?
yes, we did.
As y'all know, I almost blew my head off, but that's a whole nother story. So, have y'all ever seen like these people post these things on social media about how they found out certain things in their late age? Like, for instance, I just found out how to put a wig on. I was today years old when I put on a wig.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Yes. So I guess Eva, her internet was going in and out, but we have Miss Francine Richardson with us. This is our guest for today. Dr. Richardson. I'm sorry. How are you?
Nice to meet
you.
Thank you for joining us.
So we hope you'll stick around. Well, you're here, so you're sticking around. So I want to find out, ladies. I mean, how old were you when you first found out something? Who wants to share?
So
I will.
Okay.
So like the oven, right? The last at the bottom, that last drawer that's right there where you pull.
Yeah.
Yo, I just found out that was for you to warm the food. Like, so when you take the food out the oven, right, and you still want to keep it warm, you're supposed to
store the food on there instead of pots and pans.
Girl, I was today old when I learned that too.
Listen, I just found out like couple of weeks ago. I was like, what? I got pots and pans in there.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's what we about the bins.
So what about you, Hawa?
So just now, you know how we were backstage and was trying to figure out what did you just learn? So I go ahead, I Googled some things that you find out late in life. And I find out that pickles are from cucumbers. I never knew that. Did y'all know pickles are from cucumbers?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Oh,
Rose,
Rose,
I don't like pickles. That's probably why I didn't even care to learn what it is.
that would be the reason. Rose, how about you? What did you learn?
So what's the name of that Chinese apple? They have this name. Oh my God. It's like my girlfriend just told me that I forgot the name, but they call it Chinese apple. But he just told me that it cleans you up as a woman. It cleans your private real good.
Oh.
And I just found that out.
Oh, well, I didn't know about that either. So.
And I got it from this young girl. She's like 20.
Oh. She schooled you.
Yes, you did. When you find out what it is, please send it over here.
I got it from her.
When you find out the name, send it here, yeah? Okay. So, Miss Richardson, do you want to share something with us that you might not have known and just found out?
Look, I'm learning every day. I'm learning every day. So let me think. Give me a moment to think about that. I know
That's all right.
every day I'm learning.
No problem. While we do that, we'll jump right in onto the next segment. So the world is a melting pot, y'all, where different cultures come together to mix and at times mingle. Sometimes for the good, but not always for the better. Either way, it is an opportunity to learn from each other. We are all saying the same things. We just have a different way of saying it. Every country, city, and some boroughs have their own colloquialism or slangs. They have their special way of understanding each other, even if the rest of the world doesn't. So on this segment of, it's colloqua, we will be sharing colloquialism from around the globe so you too can be hip to some slangs. So today, I wanted to put a little twist on it, okay? So later on, we are going to be traveling to Zimbabwe, right? I mean, it is Zimbabwe, sorry, yeah. So I wanted to, if you ever watch, like, even if you watch Black Panther, right? You know, sometimes like in the Black Panther where they make this little sound or whatever, like when certain African countries, when they're speaking, they do it, right?
Yeah.
If any of you ever wondered, why some villagers make those certain sounds when they speak, I'm here to inform you that it is, in fact, their language. Like I said, you may have even heard it on Black Panther, and I know some comedians try to make fun of it and say, "Ooh, Africans," but yeah, but no. So, y'all bear with me. I don't know about this, but I wanted to challenge myself. So I said, let us all challenge each other together. So there's this P sound that they make, okay? So the P sound is like, right? So it's like they say, like instead of saying like Impala, it will say Impala or Ipapi. Does that, you know what I'm saying? You got like Ipapa or Ipala, Ipapi, goes like pa, pe, pi, po, poo, right? Like the A-I-O-U sound. So That's for the P. So it go puh, puh. So the C sound is like it's like a tisk, right? So it's like your tongue goes under your teeth, like the edge of your teeth, like that, right? And it's like et. So like that's earrings. So earrings is et. So instead of like saying et, it was like et. Or like small is like in ting ting t. In ting t. It's so hard, but like when you hear them saying it, it's so easy. Like in t. Anyways, so next is the X sound. It's almost like a horse clicking. You know when people call the horses like, right? And they say for your horse to come. So like that's their X sound. So it sounds like. So like when they want to say to tell, it's like ella, ella. So even like this sound, this comes from like the Xhosa clan. So it's like it's XHOSA, but it's instead of Xhosa, it's like Xhosa. So Xhosa, and then the Q sound is like instead of the TT with the C, the Q goes on the right. So, anyways, that's what I learned. That comes from also the Debele tribe, the Zulu tribe. So they have a whole lot more of those things. Like they have. It's like the X and R together, the H and R together, but that's a bit too difficult for me, so I wasn't gonna do all that. So I just want to let y'all know that when you hear those sounds, they're not just making those sounds to make those sounds. They are actually languages. Okay, so I learned something new today, and I did too. So just moving right on along, we are going to hear from our viewers. So Rose, take over. Your phone's muted.
I think he muted me. Hello, you hear me now?
Yes, I hear you.
Okay. So we have viewers inside. Here at LIB Talks, our viewers are the single most important thing to us. We value your opinion, your suggestion, your comments, as well as we want to inspire, invoke, and encourage. We are also here to learn. Our opinions are often based on our life experiences. So therefore, we will not agree on every matter, neither will with our viewers. On this segment called Viewers Insight, we will choose a specific viewer to acknowledge. It may be someone new that would teach us or similar or suggestion and comments. So please be advised that when you leave a message, a comment, there is a possibility that it may be aired on the next show along with your social media name. Today, viewer insight comes from the name Ali V. Samba. First and foremost, we would like to say thank you, Mr. Ali, for watching LIB Talks and engaging with us. Last week, our second edition discussion was about who should pay the bills in a relationship where couples live together. The comment was made about women doing a lot of physical work, causing a lot of harm for our Black women. You commented, and I quote, too much physical work is done is a lot of harm to our Black women. As a result, our marriages are having some serious issues. Men must begin to feel responsible. Again, thanks for being a part of the show. Hope our men understand how important their roles are in any and every relationship. Power to our Black men out there. We will next we'll go on to the moderator.
All right. Okay. Thank you for that. And thank you, Mr. Samba, we appreciate you commenting and appreciate you joining in on the conversation. Wise words for us. Thank you so much. So our next segment is I don't know if y'all watch Real Housewives of Potomac, if y'all watch any of the Real Housewives, but anyway, it's a topic that came up in one of their recent shows, maybe like 3 episodes ago. But anyway, it is no secret that everyone wants to be successful, right? Whether you strive for that dream car, that big house, that dream career, or strive for a husband, a wife, or a child, it is all considered success. But is success really the path? Is your success really the path you've set for yourself, or are you following the path your family has set for you? On that recent episode of Housewives of Potomac that I was speaking about, and yes, I like ratchet too, so don't judge. Anywho, they have a new cast member who happens to be a Nigerian doctor by the name of Wendy. Dr. Wendy, to be exact. Oh, she will let you know in a hot second, is doctor to you. In this episode, she sat down with her hubby, to discuss the next step in her career because she felt stuck. She explained, that all her life she's followed this roadmap of success, and now she doesn't know if it's what she wants to do anymore. So, this brings me to my point, how do we view success? Is it a cultural thing? Is it individually? So I read something. I read something a little while ago, but just to kind of go into the whole topic, I'll tell y'all what success is, or the definition, or one of the definitions of success. Let me tell you, because of course, success is the realization of our dreams, goals, and ideas. Since everyone has somewhat different dreams, the achievement of success will be related to these individual targets. Success means achievement, accomplishment, victory, and triumph. A blog that was written by Doro Mikura, I hope I said it right, in 2016, she states that America's traditional definition of success is often thought to be associated with wealth, power, and position. But she says, when I posed the question of what defines success to family, friends, and former colleagues on social media, the answers she received had little to do with any of those. People's answer was like raising my children to be caring, compassionate human beings, having loving friends and family, not having to stress about paying bills, making a living doing what I love, etc. So, ladies, I have a question for y'all. What do y'all consider success? It's a 3-part question. What do y'all consider success? Do you feel like you are there now? And if you're not there, what is your idea of success that you're trying to achieve? Anybody can take it.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, I'm back. Back in effect. Oh, sorry about all that technical difficulties, y'all. Well, anyway, my view on success is not about like material things. It's about one of the things we're about to talk about today is about being in a good mental state of mind. It's about having family, friends. Having a career is good and everything, but for me, it's about being okay with myself, because I see a lot of people, even they're successful, they have a lot of business, this and that, but their inside it's just not right. So for me, it's about being well-rounded with all of those things and having everything intact of what you want, and not looking at success as what everybody else thinks about it. It's about having a career or having this dream job or having this dream home. It's being content and happy with yourself. Like Aristotle says, having a flourishing life. That's what I'm looking for.
All right.
Definitely.
That's what I'm talking about.
Definitely.
So yes, who else wants to share what their idea of success is?
I agree with Eva. Success is definitely feeling, it's a sense of stability. It's a sense of knowing that you have achieve what you set out to achieve, and not just based on what other people expectation of you, but what it is that you want to do. And it's that feeling of just knowing that you have accomplished it to feel successful in it. So I feel that success is a sense of stability. Success, I think, just evolved among everything that we're doing. I don't think success ever stop at a certain level. It's evolving. So as you grow, you become successful in whatever you put your mind to, and you just gradually increase in your growth. And I think that's what success is. It's just an evolving process.
Thank you, Hawa. Thank you. Who wants to share? So do you wait for a quick question? Hawa, do you feel like you have success now? You are where?
I feel like I'm successful at things that I have set out to accomplish as of yet in my life. I feel like there have been a tremendous sense of success. I succeeded in nursing school, for instance, getting the jobs that I won. But now I'm back in school. So now I feel like, again, like I said, it's evolving. So I feel like at a certain stage in my life, there'll be certain things I will have accomplished. And then I will feel like, all right, now I have reached a certain level of another form of success. So I think it's evolving. I don't think that you just sit there and say, oh, I'm successful now. I've accomplished everything. That's it. I think you have to leave room. Yeah.
Okay. Jennifer, what's your idea?
I was gonna say back when I was younger, right? Based on what my parents wanted for me, I used to feel like if I didn't go to nursing school, because coming to America, my dad said, "I want you to go be a doctor. I want you to be a nurse," right? And I used to feel like, well, I didn't accomplish that. I went to school, I graduated from college, but I didn't go to nursing school. So after that, I'm like, in my mind, I wasn't successful, right? Because I didn't do that. But then I accomplished so many other things. So I definitely feel successful, even though I didn't do what my parents wanted me to do. I'm happy with what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? So like Eva says, state of mind, definitely. And in the space that I'm in now, I don't feel like I have arrived. I still, success is always going to be involving. So, but before I used to have that mindset like, oh my God, I didn't do what they wanted me to do, so I'm not successful. So I'm so glad I changed my mind on that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Rose, you want to share with us?
For me, success is a long trending thing. I think there's a lot of definition for success. People can be successful when they feel like where they're at in their life is comfortable for them. Some people can be successful working hard each day and thinking that this is how I become successful. So success can be in a lot of ways. But I think success should come with motivation. I think it should come with happiness. It should come not you being so comfortable, because I don't think success comes with your comfort zone. Because if you say success is when you're so comfortable, then a lot of people won't get to be real successful like society sees them. So I think it's different. People can be married and think they're successful. People can just have a 9-to-5 job that make $9 and think they're successful. So I think it has to do with individual perspective on being successful. But for me, I think success is being in a position that if anything happens to you, your kid is able to survive, your family is able to survive. That's what I think success.
Thank you, Rose. Thank you. Dr. Richardson, did you want to chime in?
I was just going to add that I think hearing what I think it's Jennifer said, and to answer your question about the cultural piece. As a child who grew up in Liberia, it's almost when you're born, your parents have your own direction for you, and the direction is usually focused on education. I want you to be a nurse. I want you, in fact, I want you to be a doctor or engineer. But I think those are things that how some parents define success culturally. But then I also want to add that I think as we grow, as you sort of meet different milestones in your life developmentally, I think ultimately for me personally, and success is my relationship with myself. Speaking a little bit about what Eva said, having peace of mind, comfort, and just kind of enjoying myself, like actually doing
Right.
that all by myself, and also being able to distinguish the people, your own support system, because obviously, um, emotions, my emotions, and how I feel about myself and how I relate to other people at this stage of my life, which is I'm older than many of you on the show. Um, that's what's important right now, and that's what success is. It has nothing to do with materialistic things, because I think you can have all of that, but if you're not happy within yourself and you don't have a relationship with yourself, and you can't communicate with yourself or tell yourself, this morning I'm happy, or this is how I feel about something, or this is how you made me feel about what just occurred, then those all the material things don't mean much. So that's what I wanted to just add to that.
All right, thank you, Dr. Richardson. Just for me personally to add a little something, I feel like I haven't reached success yet. Although, I'm happy with my kids and things like that. I think for me, the peak of success will be when I can provide for my children without struggling, without wondering about what's going to come next. When I can set something for my kids, that when a legacy for my children, that when I pass away, other people, they're okay. They'll be okay. Because I think about my father passing away and leaving nothing to me, and me having to struggle through life to get, things that I want, instead of having to lay a foundation for me to where, I can just focus on school or focus on getting an education and things like that. And I don't have to worry about everything else that comes with it. So for me, when I get to that point in life, then I feel like I'll be successful. Then I reach success. That's me. But yeah, to go on to the last question, do you all think that you followed your roadmap to success, or has it been the success of your parents, family?
I personally feel like I followed my own, because I followed my own. As much as I agree with Jennifer, as far as your parents dictating what you should be or what you should become as you get old, or what they want you to accomplish at a certain stage in your life, I feel like my father he told me, is this what you want to do? Go ahead and do it. I had to fight for it myself. And then when he saw the fight and he saw a little of a struggle, and then he stepped in and helped out. But he never pushed a certain mindset as far as this is what I need to do at some point. So I feel like I have followed my own path, and my parents, as my father, my mother passed. So my father was just there as a support system to encourage and obviously financially help out, for me to accomplish exactly what I want to accomplish at my own pace. So that's one thing I must say, that it was different for me as far as parents' influence or parents wanting you to do this and sticking to it and pressuring you to do it. I think that's because he was such a great influence. He just allowed me to do what I wanted to do. And then he sat back, and when I needed help, he stepped in. So I followed that.
It's awesome. Good. Anybody else want to add on to that?
Yeah, I didn't follow my roadmap at all. From kindergarten, I wanted to become a doctor. But as I got older, when I went to college, I went to, do the little cadavery thing, whatever you want to call it. And that's when I realized, this is not for me. This is just not for me at all. At all. So at that point, I realized I don't think doctoring was good for me. But anyways, after that, I went to school for business administration and then healthcare administration. But I knew I wanted to do something in healthcare. So I followed that roadmap to that. I got married later in age. I had my son later in age. You know how they say get married young, have your children, doing things later in age, I would say, but it's all coming together. So it, like they say, it doesn't matter what age or whatever it is, as long as you're doing something. And I don't know if I'm ever going to arrive because I'm always evolving and I'm always changing. I'm always doing something. So I don't know if I'll ever arrive to where I want to be or where I think I want to be, because my mind just keeps going on something else I want to do. So there.
Yep. All right, Eva, you gonna take over?
Yes. Well, it comes to the next. Did you want to read a couple of comments?
Yeah. Let me see. Do we have any?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. No one's commented yet.
Okay, great. Everybody's just listening. Well, we come to the next part of the show where we get on that virtual plane. Hawa, can you please get us going?
Yes, this is the Traveler's Guide. We're going on a trip. Where we going?
Zimbabwe.
When I was little, I always loved this song. Anything I had to do with Zimbabwe, I'm like, this sounds so nice. I just want to be there. Can I go there? Welcome to the Traveler's Guide. This is a part of the show where us and you, our viewers, board a virtual plane to a new destination somewhere you rarely hear about. Well, I guess we all heard about Zimbabwe. Somewhere you've never been and might want to travel to. So welcome. But want to know more? Buckle your seatbelts and let's explore. Is it a beauty or a beast? I think it's a beauty. So Zimbabwe is located in, I believe it's Southern Africa. Yes. The capital city of Zimbabwe is Harare, and Zimbabwe means large stones. So in Zimbabwe, there are 16 different official languages. I thought Liberia had a lot as far as dialects, but English and Shona and Zimbabwe is the most common language spoken in Zimbabwe. The country is known for its diverse wildlife and its beautiful landscape. So places to visit when you go to Zimbabwe, and this is well known all around the world, is the Victoria Fall. It's a waterfall in Zimbabwe River in Southern Africa, which provide habitat for several unique species of the planet and animals. It is considered to be one of the world's largest waterfall due to its the width of 1,708 meters. So yeah, it is beautiful. I saw pictures of it. I'm not going to talk about it like I've been there. I want to go there. That's why I'm doing it. So as far as nearby national parks in Zimbabwe, so Zambia and Zimbabwe are pretty much sister countries. So a lot of the tourists like to visit both countries. But there's a place that one of the national parks that a lot of tourists visit is called Masao Tanya. Masao Tanya, which just means the smoke that thunder. And there's another place called Tanga, which means it means like boiling water. So a lot of tourists visit those two national parks when they're in Zimbabwe. But it's not just about visiting the Victoria Waterfall or those beautiful national parks. When you travel anywhere, you want to make sure that the food is what? It's good.
Yes.
We're all about food, you know that. So Liberia, corn as well as cassava, beans, potatoes, squash become hugely important component of Zimbabweans food. So they eat a lot of starches, a lot of corn, a lot of carbs. Oh, yes, that's me. So they eat a lot of bread and rice. And there's this thing that they make, and it's called sazi. It's made from cornmeal, and it pretty much accompanies every meal that they make. So when they make breakfast, lunch, or dinner, they make this sazi and they put it next to it for people to eat it. It's just like cornmeal. It's cooked slowly over fire until it's like thick, and then you top it up with pretty much any kind of topping that you would like to top it with, and then you put it next to a food. You scoop it up and put it next to meat, or put it next to a salad, or whatever you like to eat it with. Another thing that the Zimbabweans eat is called kampanta. Kampanta is like tiny fish, fresh fish. So it's fried. It looks so good. It's dried up. Sometimes they can dry it up and they just put it in the sun. Catch them, put them up in the sun, season it so you can use it in any kind of tomato stews or onions or anything that you like to eat it with. So that's what the sazi is. So imagine eating a sazi right? Next to your nice kapanta, which is a little tiny fish. And other things that the Zimbabweans eat is a lot of dry meat and fish. But let me tell you this. I know we're all from Liberia, and I don't know about y'all, but I used to like bokabo. I know y'all know bokabo. Bokabo season, y'all ate that.
Yes, I remember that.
So Zimbabweans eat a lot of bugs. It gives them an extra source of protein. So you know they do that too. But one thing that they eat as well is peanut butter soup, and they call it peanut stew. And it's called dove, which is like a peanut stew that they eat, and they put the zazi next to it with the dove and the kampanta, and yeah, it makes a great meal. So this is just a little information about Zimbabwe, but feel free to Google the research or go on YouTube and just look for like 10 facts about Zimbabwe. And obviously make sure you go to Zimbabwe when you're in Africa, okay?
Ooh. Oh, yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Hawa. Myself, I used to eat our bokabo and now I think about it, I'm like,
bokabo.
I used to eat it.
I didn't.
And I used to
what?
love it.
I didn't.
So you haven't tried it?
Oh,
well,
I'm not. You never tried it. Ooh.
You've had it, right? Right, Rose?
Yeah.
Yes, it's good. Ivis, you never had it?
Girl, I ate that thing. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. That crunchy and just.
Oh, I'm afraid. I'm terrified of bugs, so no.
Yeah, not that bug. I don't like bugs.
That bug is good.
No problem. Well, everybody, stay tuned because when we come back, we're discussing the stigma behind mental health in our community.
Hello, hello, hello. My name is Miss Monet. I'm a neo-traditional artist from Mama Liberia. I showcase our Liberian culture and tradition to the rest of the world. And today, you are watching Across Africa TV network.
Liberians, the wait is over. Kizo Financial is here with the answer to your money transfer needs. Want to transfer money to or from Liberia? Contact Kizo Financial, the digital money transfer solution to your problem. From your couch in the diaspora, contact us 267-881-2836. On the farm in Liberia, contact us 231-881-122-334. Kizo Financial, a Liberian-owned business, bringing money transfer to your doorstep. We do accept Zullies and Cash App. Makes it even easier. Technology at its best. Kizo Financial, a Liberian-owned business.
Hey, come on in. Welcome to LIB Talks,
where we discuss all the issues, especially the tough ones.
Where does it happen? Live, of course.
Here on Across Africa's Facebook page and on LIB Talks Facebook page.
Every Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Miss the show? Watch it again on our YouTube channel, LIB Talks.
Hi, I am Eva and I am spunky and bold.
Hi, I'm Jennifer. I'm nice, but don't get it twisted.
Hi, I'm Hawa and I give it to you straight.
Hi, my name is Rose Joy and I speak with a passion.
Hey, it's Ivis, the fun girl.
The fun girl.
The fun girl. We're gonna get the fun girl to try some All right, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back. This is the segment of the show that everybody's been waiting for. Ivis, if you can, how about if you can please take it away.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the candidate speaking segment of the show. You know, in our community, we tend to sweep many things under the rug for fear of being judged, from rape to domestic violence, etc. The list may go on. However, time and time again, we have come to realize that the suppression is a very unhealthy way to live. Today, we thought it was very important to share some light on the major issues that our community turns to pretty much give a blind eye to: mental health. The stigma and judgment about mental health has prevented many of us from receiving the help that we truly need to live a more fruitful life. Today, as you guys saw, that we are joined by Dr. Richardson. Thank you, Dr. Richardson, for being a part of the show. We appreciate you accepting our invitation. So I'm going to just give you guys a little bit of background information on Dr. Richardson. Dr. Richardson is a professor of psychology. She has a lot of experience in the field of psychology and academic. She has worked in most areas in the field, ranging from serving as a group home coordinator to owning private practices. Dr. Richardson worked as an intensive case manager for person diagnosed primarily with schizophrenic and bipolar disorder in a community center in Philadelphia. The primary goal of her role as a case manager was to prevent clients from psychological discompensation and eventually increasing mental health hospitalization. So mental health is not a topic that we usually discuss, especially in our Liberian community. And I don't understand sometimes as far as why is it we don't discuss this very, very important subject. So I just want to just read what mental health is, because sometimes people are like, oh, I don't know what that means. What are you talking about? Nothing is wrong with me. So mental health include emotional, any social, psychological, and any social well-being. It affects how we think, feel, and act. It also helps determines how we handle stress related to others and make choices. Mental health is very important at every stage of life, from childhood to adolescence and through our adulthood. When we speak of having mental health, it doesn't mean that a person is disabled or impaired in any way. So this is some stigma that is associated with mental health, especially within our community. We always associate mental health with someone being disabled or crazy. And because of that, I think that's why a lot of people don't seek help. So Dr. Richardson, again, we say thank you for being on with us. And we just want to give you an opportunity to just say hello to the people.
Okay, thank you so much. I just want to say thank you, young ladies, Jennifer, women. If I can remember, Ivis, Howard, Eva. I hope I'm not missing anybody out. Rose Joy. Thank you so much for inviting me to your platform. It is such joy. You know, my heart warms when I see women just together, bringing awareness to multiple issues that affect our community. Plus, you guys seem to be having a lot of fun as you do it. So that's even more important to me. So I just want to thank you so much for the invitation. So I think when you introduced the topic, you were so on point. You were so right about mental health and how it impacts people around the world. And the fact that there's some stigmatization around mental health is not isolated to Liberia only or to Liberians. It's just something that a lot of people try not to focus on. There's a lot of focus that is on our physical health, but people don't realize that mental health and physical health are so interrelated. So one of the reasons why I think in part of your comments earlier, you pointed out, you see, mental health tends to be episodic. When we say episodic, what we mean by it's not always there. So there are days, and usually as professionals, when we look at how to diagnose or how to work with someone with mental health, we look at periods or durations of, you know, when they have these symptoms. And all the symptoms can be different. You know, sometimes you can have, you know, if we're speaking about, you know, depression, which is related to postpartum depression, which is something that you guys will talk about later, you know, that the depression is not always the same. It has different symptoms, and it's very of the symptoms are not always the same. So you can be depressed, like, you know, most of us do get depressed under ordinary circumstances, but we're able to get up, go to work, and, you know, attend to our children. But then there's another form of depression that sometimes that one can experience, that you just can't do those things. Okay, you can do them at times, but you won't always be able to do it. So a lot of times, my experience from working with a lot of cultural women, like you guys and myself here, we tend to hold things. We tend to carry things because we don't want people to know how we feel. So we keep it inside of us. So we might look like we are taking care of our children or we are going to work, but we're not, because we are not functioning in the best capacity. And you will know that. The interesting thing about people with mental health is when you're not feeling well, when you're depressed or when you have mental illness, you don't know that you have mental illnesses. Other people around you sometimes will see how you are behaving, and then they might be wondering about you. Sometimes they don't tell you. So I'm gonna stop there just briefly about some of the stigmatization. And primary thing that we don't seek help is like we don't prioritize in our community. Like culturally, we see it as crazy, but we don't understand what it is. You know, we just, when we see mental health, we think about schizophrenia, which is a different form of schizophrenia, especially if it's untreated. We don't see the other anxiety, generalized anxiety. We don't see postpartum depression. We don't see clinical depression. I mean, that's different from being in the blues, you know, when something happened. We don't see, like, we don't, you know, it's different from also bereavement. There's a different type of depression that comes with bereavement. However, if that continue more than 6 months to a year, then we turn that into something else as a professional person. So I will stop here and then I will define more exactly what we mean by mental health. But I want to give you guys the opportunity to chime in and let's have a conversation instead of me just talking.
Yeah, so I'll pose the same question to my co-host. So, you know, as Dr. Richardson clearly stated, that sometimes mental health is looked upon as a form of disability. So have you ever in your mind look at someone and see them being that they need some kind of mental health, but you kind of just put them aside like, that person just is disabled, or that person just gonna stay like that? Like, have any of us ever experienced that or said those things just not knowingly? You just saying it just because? I do.
Besides the fact of knowing it and seeing it in other people, at a certain point, I realized it about myself. Just candidly speaking, I went through postpartum depression when I had my son. I went through times in my life, up and down, up and down. I was depressed. I was suicidal. I even attempted it twice. So it at the point at that time, I didn't realize that I had the issues. You know, I think there may have been a mix of no. I wasn't bipolar. Might have been, but I'm not sure. But you know, it was just my emotions were just up, down, all here around, and I finally realized that I need to get counseling. And when I got counseling, that's when I realized that, hey, you have some deep rooted issues that were causing a lot of these things. And part of my thing is that's therapeutic is talking, you know, even though sometimes I like to block out, but I realized that talking is very therapeutic for me, letting it out, writing, all of that. So yeah, I noticed that within myself.
Anybody else want to share?
So I kind of live with someone that, because I was knowledgeable about bipolar, and I was at that time I was in school, nursing school. Then I started to notice signs and symptoms, about it, because first people would be like, "Oh, that man just rude. That man just rude. I just rudeness," but I knew that that person was a good person, but I knew there was something wrong, and I kind of brought it to attention of his family members. I was like, I never knew these things before I started school, but since I started school, like we did all these projects and stuff, and I go home and I see this person, I'm like, something is wrong. So a lot of us, walk around here, especially from Liberia, a lot of the Liberian people can say we crazy people walking around. A lot of Liberians around here, they are something is wrong with them, you know. So, and we find this thing like, oh, they may rule, they may respect nobody, no. So we do live with a lot of people that have mental problem, bipolar problem, postpartum depression. They go through a lot, especially from the war back home. You know, I think we all owe ourselves to do therapy. You know, that's something I didn't believe in, but after my marriage, I did a couple of therapy, and it's good. And I found it's such an amazing thing to do for yourself, especially from the country we come from. So that's just my little thing on there.
Anyone else want to share?
I mean, for me, honestly, this is something that I don't really talk about, but I just had the feeling I just have this urge to talk about it tonight. I feel like definitely postpartum. It was before I had my younger kids. I had 2 kids at the time, and I remember I was fine. Like leading up to that day, I was fine. Like I came home from work, the kids were both crying on me, and I just remember like I left them crying in the house. I came outside and I sat down, and I was just like saying, like something came over me and just tell me like, just end your life because you can't deal with this. Just end your life. And I remember sitting outside and just crying. My kids were crying and I'm crying, and I'm just like, get away from me. I don't want you guys to touch me. I don't want to touch you guys or whatever. And then luckily I had my cell phone with me, and I called one of my cousins, and I called my best friend Hawa, and I was like, something's happening to me. I don't know what has come over me, but I feel like I want to kill myself. I don't know. Why am I feeling like this? And you know, like once they came over, thankfully they came over and we just sat there and prayed. But when I got myself out of that, I was thinking like, what? I couldn't fathom like why would I say that? As they were telling me what I said, I couldn't remember feeling like that. I didn't know what led me to it. Like I up to today, I can't think about it. Like, because my children are like my word, like my everything at the time. So I'm like, wait, what? Why would I even want to do that? Why would I want to harm myself? You know, I couldn't put my finger on it, and that was like a difficult time for me to get over that. Like I was afraid to be left alone with my kids after that, because I'm like, why would I say that I want to harm myself? You know what I'm saying? Like, so I never knew until I finally got a chance to speak with a counselor to try to talk me out of it, for me to explain, because I was confused. Like, why did that happen to me? You know, and I just didn't know. So besides praying about it, I needed to talk to somebody. And people, when I got pregnant again after those 2 kids, some of my family members that I shared it with, some of my friends, they used that against me. Like, you about to have another baby, the kids were stressing you out, you wanted to kill yourself.
It's okay,
but it's definitely real.
It is real.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing, Jan. So I think for me, I remember when I had my daughter, I was in a hospital and I'm sitting there and the nerve came over me, and I called the nursery and I said, is the baby okay? And it was like, yeah, the baby's okay. And then I was like, okay, can you bring the baby paperwork back? Because I need to change her name. And the lady was like, oh, okay. So I started to research the name, because I originally wanted to name my daughter, Siani Naima. So, and I started looking up Naima, and I looked up Naima. I was like, oh, that's a good name. It's a biblical name. And then the night before it happened, I was like reading something, and it was saying all these evil things, what the name Naima meant, that I've never saw anywhere prior to that day. And I'm a strong believer that my kid's name have to have some kind of biblical meaning to it. So I started researching it and started saying all these things about it. So then I called the nurse back and I changed the name on it, and I crossed the Naima out. And then I sent the paperwork back. I woke up the next morning and I was like, I need my child in here with me. The nurse was like, okay. And I would just sit there and I would just hold her. And all I could think of, oh, if she goes to the nursery, somebody will put a blanket on her face. Oh, she's going to start breathing. It was just a hard feeling to let someone else hold her in the hospital. So I just told her, oh, this is new. I started praying about it. I got home and it got worse. Like I would literally sit there and just hold my baby. Like I don't want to, like I would see her falling. I would see her being harmed. And I'm like, why is it I'm just afraid that something will happen to this child? And at the time, I knew what postpartum depression was. And I was like, I know I'm not in that postpartum depression state, but I know there's such a thing called baby blue. So I'm like, this cannot be happening to me. I cannot experience this because if it continues for a certain amount of time, then it's going to get to that point. So I'm like, I started praying and fasting. I would hold my baby and I would cry like, God, take this fear away from me. Nothing's going to happen to her. So and then I pick up the phone and I call my pastor. I'm like, I just need somebody to pray with me. Nothing's going to happen to this child. Let her sit there by herself. Let me put her down. So for me, I had to pray myself out of it. But then I realized later on talking about it, I'm like, if it would have gotten to that point that I had no control over it, would I have sought out help at that time? So I don't know what I would have done, but I'm just glad that phase passed and I was able to pray about it and I never sought out help, but I never stopped talking about it. So I encourage female to talk about it if you're feeling that way, because if you don't, that's when our baby blue stage goes up to that postpartum depression stage and becomes really dangerous. So that's my experience with with mental health. Dr. Richardson, would you like to add anything?
Yeah, I was just going to add like everything that you guys have shared, and thank you for sharing it. It's not easy to sort of be able to talk about those very sensitive, difficult subjects. But that's the first step, and that's the most important step, and you can talk about it. The sense of guilt. How should you be guilty, or how should you feel guilty when having a baby is supposed to be a joyous thing for most women? I mean, although we know that that's not necessarily is true for all women, but again, it's like you brought someone into this world, especially in today's world. I'm not talking about our mom born, sometimes they were just in a marriage and had us, but in today's world, it's supposed to be exciting. But then you have this child, and then you have all of the things that some of you mentioned: the guilt, the paranoia about something's going to happen, a slight paranoia, something's going to happen to this baby, let me hold it. Or you start having these thoughts about things that you haven't even thought about. But what that connects to is real. And what is real is that it's every time, once a month for us women, something, well, except even when, hopefully, I'm sure you guys get through menopause already, but hopefully you will get there. But you know that every time, once a month, we do have hormonal changes in our body. And that change is almost like, being depressed, crazy, or something. And then imagine when you have 9 months of, going through those hormones, because every time when you get pregnant, that's what happens to your body. Your whole hormonal system, it changes. And then, when you give birth, that hormone system in your body's supposed to go back in shape. Well, it doesn't necessarily happen like that all the time. So yes, we all experience some kind of blues because of life. But then, like how I said, the more that we don't, talk about it, pray about it, it can get very bad. Diagnostically, we look at within 3 months, a woman will get all the symptoms: guilt, lack of interest, irritation, paranoia, sometimes marital problems. You don't trust your husband or your significant other who you had the baby by. You don't want to have sex with that person. You don't need the body anymore. So there's a lot of things that goes into it. And if that continues, it can happen all the way until a year later after having the baby. A lot of people think, oh, maybe it's just when you have the baby. No, that phase, because your society will tell you you're supposed to be happy, you're supposed to have that pink blanket and that blue blanket going around and, smiling. But, there's a lot of things going on with you. It's besides your hormone changes. You knew to the people. Every time you have a baby, it's a new experience. And then so all of that happening is triggering. So yes, it is very real. It is physically real and emotionally real. So we really need to talk about it. I like what you guys said, call a friend, talk, pray about it, seek counseling. There's people out there that can help you. Get your medical doctor, get your hormones all checked. Make sure that they're in line to what your physical body's supposed to be like.
Can I ask a question? I'm sorry. Can I ask Dr. Richards? So I don't know if this has anything to do with it, but I wanted to ask. I usually have hormonal imbalance. Does that's something that I suffer from? Does that have anything to do with hormonal imbalance? Like I usually have that. Like every time I go to the doctor, and most of the time, like a lot of issues when I'm having, they always say, your hormones are imbalanced. So does that affect any of those issues okay? Because how I went through what you went through too with my daughter.
Oh wow.
Sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I mean, I was just gonna say, obviously, the medical people, you have to respect what they tell you, but in our world, psychology world, a lot of times we see chemical imbalance. It sometimes relates to depression. Okay, and depression has a lot to do with your physical hormones in your body. I'm sure anytime there's an impact of your physical body, the stuff that's happening in your brain, your brain sends out signals for your hormones in your body to be released. So that's what they mean when they tell you about the chemical imbalance and stuff like that. So yeah, I think that we have conditions to that.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Richardson. That was our topic. That was one of the most common untreated or undiscussed mental health situation, mental health issues that we see in our community. But another major one that I being a correctional nurse, I get to see this a whole lot. Is PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. This is deep because as we were discussing among ourselves, a few co-hosts, or I guess one or two, didn't realize that PTSD goes beyond just someone fighting in a war. So can you I can read what the webinar definition of PTSD is, but you being firsthand, if you can just break down what is PTSD and how does it affect our community?
So, PTSD, it's like an awful event, something awful happening to you, just to break it down a little bit, where, you feel like your life is being threatened. Now, war is an awful event, but being in a home where somebody is denigrating you all the time, telling you you're no good, you're ugly, I'm not going to give you any money. I don't know where the rent money going to come from today. All of those things can make you feel like your life is being threatened. Okay. So it doesn't have to be a significant, yes, war can play a role in it. Like we know that, everyone knows that. Okay. But when you feel like your integrity, your whole body, your life is threatened by, what you have coming at you on a regular basis. Okay, that's an awful event that triggers that what we call can be traumatizing. Mm-hmm. So there's big things like disaster, war, car accident. Those are one event that can trigger, that can cause PTSD. But then we have those little events in our lives, in relationships, in connection with other people, that can also trigger PTSD as well. I will share with you. I think I remember talking to a woman one time who she got hit a couple of times by her significant other, her husband, a boyfriend. She didn't think she would suffer PTSD from that because she only thought PTSD happens in war situation or in accident situation, but you can. Okay. So The symptoms that relates to PTSD includes intrusive thoughts. When you sit down by yourself, you start imagining when this man come home, and I'm just using as a woman, I have multiple examples, but okay, when this person comes home, they're going to start yelling at me. They're going to start talking. Or you start having, thoughts about when the gun came, when they start to fire the gun, where did I run to? Did I run from Guinea to Ivory Coast, or did I run from, downtown Monrovia to another place? Every now and then you have those thoughts just coming into your head without even your awareness, okay? And then we have avoidance as another symptom. Like you try to avoid things that will remind you of that person. And that avoiding behavior can come into smell. Is even a smell can trigger you. Sometimes you don't even know what trigger you. It's even a person that might look like somebody, or it could be a sound. A lot of times people get started. I hear 4th of July is very big in our community, especially the people who are traumatized. They don't like the noise of something banging. Okay. So and there's a lot of negative moods, negative thoughts, irritation. I think, many of you, Joyce was talking about this person who, the people will say you're just rude. Okay. That's a negative mood. That's irritation. You can't keep yourself together. So we know all of that arousal, hyper arousal, or constriction. Constrict yourself. You paranoid about everybody. Oh, that person, I don't like them. Oh, that person has not done anything to you at all. But for some reason, whatever that person said, maybe they remind you of a situation, of an event, or your own thoughts about whatever the event is. That person is not good. I don't like that person. What did that person say?
Wow.
Okay? And so little pieces of symptoms that we call that are related to trauma. And again, I want to go to say how real this is. It affects the brain. There's 3 major areas. Brain. For those of you who are nurses and science background, the hypothalamus. If you know the hypothalamus, it controls your regulation in your brain, your body regulation. So if you get traumatized, you get off your body system, your ability to connect with people, your ability to make meaning of your life. Okay, you can do it, but you're not doing it in the full capacity. Just imagine. I tell women that I talk to, what would you be functioning, even though you're functioning well now? How might you be functioning if you didn't have this experience? Probably super or better. Okay. The pituitary glands in your body is another thing in the brain. Okay. That also controls like digestion, eating, immune system. And then we have like the adrenaline. They're responsible for your hormones. All right. The adrenaline sometimes can input stress hormones. The cortisol is what we call the stress hormones. Okay. When you stress out, when you traumatize, when you continuously exposed to this awful event, these little hormones are in your body. They get it in there and they're causing all kinds of havoc in your system. So yes, it's not anything to play around with. We've all been through it. And lastly, I wanted to add a simplified understanding is the fight or freeze notion. So if you're thinking about like what trauma does, it puts you in a state where you might go through periods, episodic periods of where you feel like I gotta be fighting. When you're fighting, you're irritated, you're nervous, you're anxious all the time. You haven't racing thought about what other people are thinking about you when they're not even thinking about you. When you freeze, you are constricted. When you're frozen, you're depressed. You sit down, you have nothing to offer. You can't even concentrate. You can't focus. Someone be talking to you in a state of numbness. You're on your job. People are talking. You're like, what are they talking about? I can't get it. Or you're sitting in class. You can't get it. And so this is what prohibits a lot of us from moving forward, because we have all this stuff going on with us that we can't even address it. We have not even, somebody said, all of us, and again, let me also mention, I know, Rose, I'll let you say something, but so trauma can be vicarious. You can vicarious, what I mean by that, you can indirectly experience trauma, okay? Like sometimes you can observe trauma, like, I was part of a war, I got hit, I'm in an abusive relationship or whatever, but then your children or people around you can be traumatized by watching that. We know a lot of, we know when the World Trade Center happened, children who saw it on TV were traumatized. And the reason how we know that, we started to ask, to look at the pictures they were drawing about the World Trade Center. They weren't even there. And they were drawing these airplanes being hit and the emotions about it. We also know that sometimes when you traumatize, when this whole bodily effects happen, you can transfer that to your next generation. There's been studies, what we call the epigenic studies, where people who are in, like for example, the Great Depression, they were very depressed, the economic Great Depression. We also know people who were in Rwanda who weren't even born. There are now the generation 14, 15-year-old whose parents were in the war. They are now experiencing depression, anxiety because their parents were traumatized during the war. So we're beginning to study and make a lot of the understanding of trauma. Another thing that we focus on in the field is called the ACE, adverse childhood reaction experience. It's called ACE. So children is not like, again, not the big event, but the daily things, food insecurity, coming food, your home, seeing your parents, walking through streets daily and seeing accidents or people calling you names. These are all adverse, what we call adverse childhood experience. So I'm going to stop here now, and then we can also have a discussion, but I just wanted to share that.
Can I say that I am shocked? Because apparently I need more counsel. Because I literally, certain smells, certain music that reminds me of someone. Oh my gosh. I can't listen to certain music. I cannot smell something that will remind me of this person. Someone will do something that reminds me of something somebody else did, and I will stop. I will run away from that person. I don't want to deal with them anymore because I'm afraid. I mean, my father died. I can't look at my father's picture. I can't have his picture near me. There's a certain smell that resonates when I think about, oh my God.
Yeah.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ. What?
Rose, you want to add something?
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. Shocking, isn't it? Rose, we can't hear you, Rose.
You're still muted.
Hello?
There you go. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, I just want to piggyback off of Dr. Francis. I remember my son, my marriage, and there was a lot of things going on in the house, and I came to a point that I had to move my son to my mom.
Rose, we can't hear you.
You hear me now?
Yes.
So I kind of used to come back and forth to my mom, to see my son. And I remember one day on the Sunday, I was getting ready to go home, go back to Ohio, and my 10-year-old son looked at me and said, "Mom, why are you going back to that place?" And at 10-year-old, I'm like, "Whoa!" Like what? And I asked him, I was like, "Why did you say that?" He's like, "Because that place is not safe for you."
Wow.
So that was it. That kind of like put the cream on the chocolate or whatever, and I was just done. I was like, I can't even make this work anymore.
Wow.
So I just wanted to pick it back up with Dr. Francis.
Mm-hmm. Dr. Richardson.
Yeah, I know. For me,
go ahead, Eva.
Oh,
go ahead.
I know for me, as a child, I was sexually abused, but I suppressed it as a little girl. But when I turned 24 years old, that's when I started to experience the trauma. That's when things came, that's when, I don't know why it hit me that late in age, but at 24, I started having anxiety attacks. I couldn't be around a man. I did not have a man. I would sit at night and just cry, just thinking about it, just any thought that would come to my mind, I would just kind of go crazy. I had a nervous breakdown. And at that time, I realized I needed help because and a lot of my family and people don't know this. There was one person that was there that really helped me. I was a complete mess, nervous breakdown, just lost all of it. And it wasn't until I went and got that help, talked to somebody, to realize what was happening, because I was just angry for no reason, just out of it for no reason. And like you said, a smell of something, a look of something, just it came to a point, just looking at a man or just being around any, man just triggered this reaction in me. So I had to go and do that therapy and get that help to reverse a lot of that. And it took me about a year and some to do that. But I don't know where I would be if I didn't do that. I would have been somewhere. I don't know if I would even been here, because I was even down that suicidal road of not wanting to be around, not wanting to be here, because it was so traumatizing. And that's why sometimes when I talk about it now, about what happened, and people might see me, like how I'm talking about it, before I couldn't even think about it. But getting to that step where I could even talk about it is a major accomplishment for me. So if you're going through anything, get that help. It doesn't take anything off of you. And, I grew up in the church, and we think about God, sometimes it's beyond just praying. It goes beyond that. Go seek professional help. Seriously.
So, yeah, that would be my next question to Dr. Richardson. Why do you feel as though people don't receive the help that they need, or don't seek out help? Is it a society thing? Is it a reason why, when we are experiencing these feelings or going through these different traumatic events, we don't seek out the help afterwards, or even during the events? Why do you think we don't seek out help besides praying, or like just seek out professional help?
Well, certainly, I think we all agree that it is a cultural thing, that we haven't been accustomed in our background, and it's not, again, isolated to Liberia. It wasn't only until recently, I think, that even this part of the world started to consider, talk therapy. But I want to add to, because we come from such small cultures where we feel everybody's connected. So there's a sense that if I go and talk to somebody, other people will know my business and what have you. But finding the right therapy and doing talk therapy is very important. Do not just go to anyone. Make sure it's not like going to your best friend or going to your pastor or whoever. Yes, the pastor can be good sometimes, but we said going outside of that. And one of the things you have to look for when you find a therapy, make sure that that person is licensed, because when we are licensed, we have certain ethical obligations. I am bounded by privacy HIPAA laws, that my clients can actually report me or take me to court if they find me discussing the issues anywhere outside of the therapy arena. So this is what makes it different from them going to just talk to anybody. So when you go to a therapist, they hold your issues privately. They challenge you. They listen to you. They empathize with you. Yes, it does cost money, like you will, like going to pay for your physical care. Psychology does cost money too. So that's what I think I think that a lot of times we go to friends, and then our business gets thrown out into the streets, and then it complex the trauma, it complex the mental illness. But if you can find important real help, that's the way to go.
Awesome. So I want to read some comments, because I feel like I'm going to lose them. People are already asking some important questions on here. For instance, yes.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to say something. When I went to do my therapy, I just found out that every mental job, like mental institution, you have 3 sections of therapy every year. That's something we need to even, give that information to the public, that if you work in a group home, you're entitled to have 3 sections of therapeutic therapy days within and a psychologist. So my therapy was free because I work at Spain when I came back from Ohio, and I had three sections and was paid by the job. So everybody entitled to that.
That's true. Thank you, Rose. Thank you. Mr. Edward Payne asks a very important question. That would have been my next segment for you. Is what's our role in helping others to access help? And now I would follow to say, if a friend comes to me and tell me certain things or how they're feeling, I know as a nurse, if a patient tells me that they are going to cure themselves, I would have to put that patient on a one-on-one observation care, just because that's a safety issue right there. So I'm going to go as far as a family member. We know there's an option of 302 and getting people committed, but how can we as society help without the person feeling like we are against them or being defensive? So what can we do? What is our role in that situation if someone expressed certain thoughts to us? Should we force, is there such a thing as forced therapy on someone? Like you have to get it and mandate it? Or how can we talk to the person to seek out the help that they really need?
Well, therapy doesn't work too well when it's forced, because we do see mandated clients. Like, sometimes people in the correctional system, they are mandated to see us, or anger management. It works best when you can come in. But to answer the question, how can we help people in our community? I think you guys are doing great. A great service right now. Awareness. See, we've got to dispel the whole stigmatization. Like if I am depressed, that means that I can't recover. When I hear Eva say, I did well, I talked to somebody, or when I even hear Ivan say, like, look at me, I can recover. This is like, if you have a headache, you take pain medication, you recover, you move on. You learn about yourself. That's the best part of a therapy. You learn about your triggers. You learn, you become a wiser person. So if somebody is suicidal, I will actually sit with that person a little bit, just kind of get a sense of some of the things that we ask when people are suicidal, or tell me what plans do you have, make sure if they have a plan, or if they have weapons or means of doing it, if they have pills around them, if they have any past history of hurting themselves or thoughts of hurting themselves. And then depending on how they answer, you can, seek help. If you have to get in the car with them, direct them to a local hospital and sit there with them as a friend and a support person, that's wonderful, because being suicidal and going to those places can be scary and not helpful at all.
Yes.
So that's what I'll do. I'll sit with that person for a long time. Sometimes if that can't get to go to the hospital, I'm to my family members now. Like if I have a friend or very good friends who have had, who had, were depressed, I slept in the same bed with them. And, little cousins, curse, I hold them. I put them in a holding position. Just stay with me until the next day, how you feeling, and then we can move on to the hospital.
So Faith Joy wants to know, Dr. Richardson, for those who are listening and do not know how to get in touch with a therapist, how can they find one? I know you said to find someone who is licensed, and but you want to know, do you know a specific, like, where are you located pretty much? How can they seek your help? Because they're enjoying this conversation and they feel like you're giving them a lot of important information. So, are we froze? Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Dr. Rich. Okay. Did you hear my question, Dr. Richardson?
Say that question again, how I missed it. Well, where I'm located in the Philadelphia. You said where am I located?
Where are you located?
I'm in the Philadelphia area.
And how can they get in touch with you?
I'm in the Philadelphia area. If you Google my name, you probably I do pop up, I believe.
Okay. Faith, I hope you're
Psychology
listening.
Today. I think if they Google my name, Psychology Today pops up.
Okay, so I hope you guys are listening. That her information is on Google. Google Dr. Richardson. Go talk to her if you need the help. Does anyone else want to add anything? Because I feel like this topic is so. Somebody just said for us to do a part 2 and go in more details. This is important, and we have to discuss these issues. So, Dr. Richardson, we just want to say thank you so very much for spending the evening with us and just educating us, and then just allowing us to be opened and just talk about these things that we wouldn't have said anything to anyone about before. So thank you, that you definitely made it comfortable for us to have this discussion today.
Yeah,
because I learned something.
Thank you again. Love the show. Continue such great work. I also just want to say, I hope that we continue to just have this kind of conversation with ease. It's not my intention to make anyone feel a little bit extra sensitive here today, but this was really good, really good. So continue to do this work. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. We're going to take some phone calls. Maybe one phone call, and then I'll read some other.
She wants to say something.
Go ahead.
Now, asking if you guys want me to just leave and watch, or want me to stay, or
yeah, just stay. Other people, I'm going to read a couple of comments, and if people have any questions or so. James K. Brown says, "Hi, my queens. Y'all stop. 97% of our people here in Liberia have no such thing as PTSD, mental health issues. Those are all just the Western American made-up disease. We have breakdown of the family. No father at home is the main issue. Institutional breakdown by our government. I mean, all government. Our government has intentionally messed our people up in every way. Dr. Richardson, please take this."
But that's it. That's the problem. He's the problem. Simple. He's the problem.
All of that is mental. Oh, sorry.
He did mention, he mentioned that already, and so we know that the breakdown of the family and all of those things contribute to. We can't separate our social life from our brain and our physical life. We have those things already. I do think mental health issues do exist in Liberia. Unfortunately, we don't have facilities to help our people out. We have Grand Hospital, which is the only psychiatric hospital in Liberia. We have like 56 beds, and interestingly, they only focus on when you read the mental health report of Liberia, they focus on seizure, a neurological disorder. That's the most important thing they focus on, because that's what they see. You can see seizure as opposed to seeing depression. So yes, we do have mental health issues in Liberia. We just need to be able to take a lot of our professionals, as you see on this panel, in Liberia to help us categorize and organize it.
But my thing is, like, when you have like, go ahead, Rose.
No, I just wanted to say one thing, like one just simple thing. You go to Liberia and you see the people take the market and set it on the rear car road, where the cars supposed to pass. And you think it's okay? You think people are there okay? That's all I just wanted to say.
Yeah, for me, it's like when you don't have money, when you don't have stuff for your life, it can lead to depression, it can lead to mental illness, it can lead to these things. So I don't, it messes with your mind. Even if you say it's a government, it's still messing with your mental, it's still messing with your mind. But anyway, I know Lofa said he was going to call in. He had a question. I'm just going to read one more comment. From Werthro. Please don't hold me responsible if I mess your name up. Weto Gartayan Lumba said, "Very informative discussion. These are issues we rarely talk about. Our culture, socialization play a big part in coming to terms with mental health and PTSD. I've heard many people say counseling is a white man's thing. Thanks for the discussion." I see you're on here, so if you have your question to ask the doc, go ahead.
Well, you guys have a caller. You got a call on the line, and that's why I just told to come on here.
Okay.
Caller, go ahead. Your name and where you're calling from. I think it's Steve. Actually, it's Steve Bowley. Moses.
Thank you, Lisa. Tonight, the panel is as usual. I want to say thanks to all of you. This is an important discussion. And I also want to say thanks to Dr. Fakim. She continues to do an amazing job. Just so you guys know, Dr. Fakim is my mentor. I trust her abilities, and I always like to learn from her. I think in all honesty we can joke around, but one of the things I always get to say when we have these kind of conversations, especially when it comes to mental health issues, whether that's psychological, mental health, or just trauma and other things people have experienced. One of my personal things I like to say to people is, I don't care what you wear, I don't care what you have, I don't care where you live, what car you drive. If your head is not okay, you ain't going nowhere. It's not okay. You're not okay. Do whatever you want to do. Fix yourself however you want to fix yourself. Once your head or your mind is not okay, you are not okay. So in this life, I really wish a lot of people would have tuned in to listen to some of these important conversations, and we ourselves can self-evaluate ourselves, about things that we do, decisions that we make, things that we've experienced, and look into it to seek help. And in those things, to be quite honest with you, and when I say sometimes the religious people get mad at me, prayer can cut it, to be quite honest. Prayer will not cut it. It will not cut it. You gotta go seek actual help. And everybody's situation will be different, it will not be the same. But one of the things that caught my attention when you guys were talking is that people overlook sometimes. There's sometimes with a significant other, fighting in front of the children, shouting at one another. It has the ability to affect them, to impact their life. So that being said, I just want to lay this out there that, we can pass around all day and say people got problems, the person got problems, but I think we have to self-evaluate. We got to look in the mirror, look at ourselves, look at our behavior, and look at what we do, the decisions that we make, the things that we say. That being said, I want to say thank you, and we will continue to follow and take you to the point of this conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lofa, as always.
No, that was Steve.
Oh, thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Steve. Our number one fan.
All right, so
our number one viewer.
I think that's it. We're not getting
all right, guys.
I think that's it.
Thank you.
Thank
That's
you.
Right. That's it.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Francinian. We want to thank you for joining us. Thank you for this segment. Thank you for all of that. Definitely, as the caller said, we will look into a part 2. If you want to stay for the rest, you can watch us or so. We'll go into our next segment. Jennifer, please let us get our mind right.
Mute.
You're muted.
You're muted.
Okay, lady.
Out. Thank you. There you go.
Okay. There's a time in our life we hear something, see something, and you think like, what? Why would that person say that? Kind of like what that guy said today. Anyway, today we're going to be getting our minds right, okay? I want to clear my mental. In today's segment of Get Your Mind Right, I just want to say something to the parents out there. When you take your children out with you to people's events, whether it's their homes, whether it's like some kind of social gathering, ladies and gentlemen, please keep an eye on your children. Okay? It bothers me, right? Because I'm paranoid when I take my kids out. I'm not paranoid like how but like if you take your kids out, like don't have the kids running around. Don't have the kids like hogging up the line, trying to hold their little plates in the food line. Like serve your kids. Like keep your kids intact. Like make sure your eyes are on your children and your hands are on them too. Okay? Get your mind right. Okay? When you go out to events, keep an eye on your children. Don't
So that you can't be
let them
mad at
wander
me. I be
everywhere.
doing the most. Like, don't go there. Stand next to me. Don't touch.
Yeah.
I'm not mom, y'all.
Yeah, be a helicopter mom. Be a helicopter mom like how I. Get your mind right.
There's a viewer that said when he watches us all day, we're doing is playing. All we do is play with our hair. That's all right.
Oh,
I asked you, are you worried? Are your problem? Are your business?
Exactly. And what her name say? What's that MC? What she say? She said, I don't want no
nowadays.
Our nowadays. Yeah, our nowadays.
Oh, MC Carol.
Maya.
Don't ask us.
All right, y'all. All right, y'all. Okay, time for the last part, the quote of the day. The quote of the day, it says, the advice I gave to anybody that's silently struggling is, you don't have to live that way. You don't have to struggle in silence. You can be unsilent. You can live well with a mental health condition as long as you open up to somebody about it, because it's really important to share your experience with people so that you can get the help that you need. And this was stated by Demi Lovato. All right, guys, it's been wonderful. It was great having Dr. Richardson on this show this evening. We learned a lot. Ivis was shook. She learned a lot. We learned a lot. We appreciate you educating our community. We will be back here next Friday at the same time for another discussion. Add us to your Facebook at LIB Talks and like our fan page. Follow us on Instagram at LIB Talks. Also subscribe to our YouTube channel and LIB Talks. And also we would like to thank this network across Africa for having us on, as always, with their professionalism. And we hope to see you right back next Friday at 7 p.m.
Happy Talks Day.
Bye. Love you all.
Thank you, y'all. Thanks for watching. Hey.
I just want to let them.
Is it still live?
Yes.
I just want
No CCP.
For me, I wanna get 15 minutes. The main place in the fire I finish. Oh my God, I got big ball, I got good ball. Look at it, money, nah, yeah, boss, get love. Why you want? All the other niggas come back. Billy pump, 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 pump. I don't wanna hear no track. Billy pump, 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 pump. Catch him, boy. Be yourself. Catch him, boy. Be yourself. Biga, trusting in la vida. In la vida. Trusting in la vida. I saw that, and I know about it. Don't ask me. I want now again. Don't ask me. And I know it. Don't ask me. And I yeah, don't ask me. Don't ask me. I want now again. Don't ask me. And I know it. Don't ask me. And I yeah, I just wanna I don't wanna check my balance. I just wanna I don't wanna check my balance. I got money, my left to stay. And I got time for people issue, yeah. I don't wanna be in the fry, no. I don't have time, I don't wanna know who you are, no. Hey, I can eat pepper color. I don't want a problem, dog in my pepper color. I can eat pepper color. I don't want no trouble, dog in my pepper color. Yo, and I won't kill myself, and I won't kill myself. Y'all leave me, let me enjoy myself, let me enjoy myself. I said, and I won't kill myself, and I won't kill myself. Y'all leave me, let me enjoy myself, let me enjoy myself. I'll let you move back, and I know about it. Don't ask me. I want now a dead, don't ask me. And I know say it, don't ask me. And I yeah, it's set, don't ask me. And I know about it, don't ask me. I want now a dead, don't ask me. And I know say it, don't ask me. And I yeah, it's set. I just wanna I don't wanna check my balance. I just wanna I don't wanna check my balance. I just wanna I don't wanna check my balance. I just wanna
Hi, I am Eva and I am spunky and bold.
Hi, I'm Jennifer. I'm nice, but don't get it twisted.
Hi, I'm Hawa, and I give it to you straight.
Hi, my name is Rose Joy, and I speak with a passion.
Hey, it's Ivis, the fun girl.
Hello, hello, hello. My name is Miss Monet. I'm a neo-traditional artist from Mama Liberia. I showcase our Liberian culture and tradition to the rest of the world. And today, you are watching Across Africa